Donald Trump just said something about Filipinos that's got everyone talking. Some are calling it praise, others say it's a calculated move, but one thing's for sure, Americans are packing their bags for the Philippines faster than ever. Why? Let's find out. For millions of Americans, the cost of living isn't just a struggle, it's an anchor, dragging them under. Food, rent, healthcare, every month it gets worse. Paychecks vanish before the bills are even covered. Dreams of homeownership fading. The idea of retirement laughable. And as inflation soars, wages stagnate, and economic uncertainty looms, the American dream feels less like a dream and more like a cruel joke. People who did everything right, got an education, worked hard, saved where they could, still find themselves gasping for air in an unforgiving financial landscape. But then, one thought changes everything. What if there's a better way? That's when the Philippines enters the picture, a land of vibrant culture, stunning landscapes, and most importantly, affordable living. And for those who take the leap, the shift is nothing short of life-changing. A new world opens up, one where financial freedom isn't just a fantasy, it's reality. The breaking point. It always starts with frustration, that moment where the weight of the system crushes you just a little too much. The final straw, the moment where something has to give. For Josh, a retired Army vet, it was a hospital bill, one that wiped out years of savings in a single night. Decades of service, and in the end, one medical emergency made everything he'd worked for disappear. He spent his life protecting his country, only to be left unprotected when he needed it most. For Lisa, a single mother of two, it was the landlord's email, rent increasing by 20% next month. She already worked 2 jobs, barely seeing her kids. The thought of adding a third, soul-crushing. It wasn't just the money, it was the exhaustion, the isolation, the feeling that no matter how hard she worked, it would never be enough. And for Kevin, a software engineer making 6 figures, it was that gut-wrenching realization. Even with this salary, I'll never afford a home. Not here, not ever. He had done everything right, went to college, landed a great job, worked tirelessly, and yet he was still renting a 1-bedroom apartment at 35. The American dream had slipped through his fingers. Each of them felt trapped, each of them started searching, and that's when they found it. The discovery. The more they dug, the more it made sense. They found stories of people who had already made the move, stories of transformation, of second chances, of freedom. $1,500 a month? You're living well, not just scraping by, thriving, dining out, traveling, enjoying life in a way that felt impossible back home. No longer choosing between a weekend getaway and paying off another credit card bill. Healthcare, private hospitals with world-class care at a fraction of US prices. No more dreading a doctor's visit because of an insane deductible. No more choosing between health and financial ruin. Real estate, a beachside condo costs less than a down payment back home. A house with a yard, within reach, without a lifetime of debt. Imagine waking up to the sound of waves instead of the sound of your upstairs neighbor stomping around. Community, English-speaking, friendly, and welcoming. A mix of locals and expats who support each other. No more feeling isolated in the rat race. No more struggling to find a sense of belonging in a place that feels increasingly unrecognizable. It wasn't just about affordability, it was about dignity, security, a fresh start. The leap. And so they took the plunge. They sold what they had, packed their lives into a few suitcases, booked that one-way flight, and the moment they landed, everything changed. The stress, gone. The loneliness, replaced by a tight-knit expat and local community. The fear faded into the background as their savings finally meant something. Josh got the surgery he needed without going bankrupt. Lisa found a safe neighborhood where her kids could actually be kids. Kevin, he bought his dream home, something he never thought possible. And the best part? They weren't alone. The wave of change. Every month, thousands more make the same decision. Retirees who refuse to spend their golden years choosing between food and medicine. Families who just want their kids to have a shot at happiness. Remote workers realizing they could work from anywhere, so why not paradise? Because America may be the land of opportunity, but what happens when those opportunities dry up? When hope itself has a price tag? That's when the Philippines becomes more than an option, it becomes an answer. But here's the twist. Not everyone who leaves gets to stay. For some, it's a dream cut short, a visa denied, a sudden emergency forcing them back, a government policy shift that closes the door for good. The Philippines is welcoming for now, But borders can tighten, policies can change, and those who hesitate, they might find themselves stuck in the very nightmare they tried to escape. The clock is ticking. This isn't just fear of missing out. This is fear of missing your chance forever. Some will watch this and take action. Some will hesitate and regret it for the rest of their lives. And some will never even know what they missed. The choice isn't easy, but staying, that's the real risk. So ask yourself this: if you had a chance to escape, to start fresh, to actually live, would you take it? Jake was the definition of hardworking. A 42-year-old father of two, he spent years grinding at his corporate job, believing that if he just worked harder, things would get better. But the reality? Each year, his expenses climbed faster than his paycheck. Rent kept rising, groceries cost more, his medical bills piled up, even with insurance, and despite earning what once seemed like a good salary, he could never save enough to feel secure. Then came the breaking point. His landlord raised the rent again, his car needed repairs, and his wife's medical emergency left them drowning in debt. That was the moment Jake realized, this isn't sustainable. Jake wasn't alone. Millions of Americans are trapped in the same cycle, and just like that, he started looking elsewhere. The harsh reality of the American dream. Think about the bills piling up each month. Your paycheck comes in, and before you can even blink, it's gone. Rent, groceries, utilities, medical expenses, debt payments, and somehow there's always one more unexpected charge: a car repair, a surprise fee, a sudden medical bill that wasn't covered by insurance. It's a cycle millions of Americans know too well. You work, you earn, but you never quite get ahead. And the worst part, the cost of living keeps climbing while wages struggle to keep up. Rent skyrocketing. A tiny one-bedroom apartment in New York or Los Angeles costs as much as an entire 3-bedroom house in the Philippines. Imagine trading a cramped city studio for a spacious home near the beach, with fresh air and a lower cost of living. Grocery prices out of control. A single dinner out in the US costs more than an entire week's worth of meals in Manila. What's considered a luxury in America, dining out, fresh produce, quality meat, is just part of everyday life in the Philippines. No more choosing between healthy food and a reasonable budget. Medical bills, let's not even start. One emergency room visit could send an American family spiraling into debt, while Filipino hospitals provide world-class care at a fraction of the price. Medical tourism is booming for a reason: affordable treatment without sacrificing quality. Debt, debt, and more debt. Student loans, credit cards, mortgages. Americans are drowning in financial obligations, while many expats in the Philippines live comfortably with far fewer financial burdens. A life without crushing debt? It's possible. Jake had heard of people making the move, but it still felt like a dream, until he dug deeper. The search for a better way. It starts with curiosity, a casual Google search, a conversation with a friend who moved abroad, a YouTube video about expats living their dream lives in Southeast Asia. The more Jake researched, the more he realized it's not just hype, it's real. There is an alternative, and for many, that alternative is the Philippines. Cost of living, the game changer. Let's break it down. Housing. A high-rise condo with ocean views, $500 a month. A 3-bedroom home in a gated community, less than what many Americans pay for a 1-bedroom apartment in a major city. Food, fresh seafood, local markets, street food, and fine dining, all at a fraction of US prices. Cooking at home or eating out, your dollar stretches further here. Transportation, no need for a car in many areas. Public transport, affordable taxis, and ride-sharing apps mean you can get around without the hassle of car payments and insurance. Entertainment, beach trips, island hopping, live music, and cultural festivals, all within reach without breaking the bank. It's not just about saving money, it's about what that money allows you to do. More experiences, more freedom, more security. Quality of life, more than just dollars and cents. For many, it's not just the affordability, it's the lifestyle shift. Weather and scenery. Imagine waking up to sunshine almost every day, with beaches, mountains, and lush landscapes just a short trip away. Healthcare. No more avoiding the doctor because you're scared of the bill. The Philippines offers high-quality private healthcare at a price that won't leave you in financial ruin. Community and friendliness. A culture known for its warmth and hospitality, making it easy to build friendships and feel at home. Remote work and business opportunities. With the rise of remote work, many professionals realize they don't have to stay in an expensive city just to make a living. The Philippines offers reliable internet, co-working spaces, and a growing digital nomad community, making the move from dream to reality. Jake wasn't the type to take risks, but after months of research, he realized this wasn't a risk, it was an opportunity. He sold what he could, downsized his life, and took the plunge. With his savings, he and his family moved to Cebu, a vibrant city with all the modern conveniences they needed. The difference was immediate. Visas and residency options. The Philippines offers retirement visas, long-term tourist visas, and even investment-based residency options. Business and work opportunities. Many expats start small businesses, work remotely, or teach English online to sustain their new lifestyle. Finding a home, whether renting or buying, the process is straightforward and the cost is significantly lower than in the US. But here's the catch. Not everyone who considers leaving actually follows through. Some get caught in analysis paralysis, some worry about missing home, others are afraid of taking a risk, even when staying feels like the bigger gamble. The reality, opportunities don't last forever. Velocities can change, visa rules can tighten, the cost of living can shift. What's accessible today might not be tomorrow. Jake took action, and today he's living a life he never thought possible, debt-free, stress-free, and finally able to enjoy the fruits of his labor. If you had a chance to live debt-free, stress-free, and truly enjoy life, would you take it? Some will take action, some will hesitate, and some will never even know what they missed. The choice is yours. There's a reason why so many Americans are choosing the Philippines over Mexico, Costa Rica, or Thailand. In fact, there are several reasons, some practical, some deeply personal. The more you learn, the more it makes sense. One, English is widely spoken. No language barrier, no awkward Google Translate moments, no struggling to be understood in a foreign land. The Philippines is one of the few countries in Asia where English is not just taught in schools, it's a daily part of life. Road signs, menus, business transactions, everything is in English. You can integrate into society without the frustration of a language barrier, making your transition smoother than in many other expat destinations. And two, the cost of living is ridiculously affordable. Imagine slashing your monthly expenses by half or more. That's what happens when you move to the Philippines. A high-quality life that costs thousands in the US can be maintained here for a fraction of the price. Housing, a beachfront condo for $500 a month, a modern apartment in a prime city location for less than $400. Compare that to the rent crisis in the US and the difference is staggering. Food, street food for less than $2, fine dining for under $20, and fresh produce at a fraction of Western prices. Eating well isn't a privilege here, it's normal. Healthcare, affordable, high-quality medical care, no more skipping doctor visits because of high deductibles. Even major surgeries cost a fraction of what they do in the US. Transportation, no need for a car, public transport and ride-hailing apps make getting around easy and affordable. In short, you're not just surviving here, you're actually living. 3, the people are unbelievably welcoming. Filipinos treat foreigners like family. It's not just hospitality, it's a cultural norm. You'll find warmth, kindness, and a sense of community that many Americans haven't felt in years. Unlike other expat destinations where locals may view foreigners with indifference or even resentment, the Philippines embraces its visitors. It's common to be invited to local gatherings, offered help when needed, and greeted with genuine smiles. But there's something even bigger happening here. The hidden movement, the quiet expat boom. This isn't just about affordability or convenience. There's a movement happening, a quiet but undeniable shift. More Americans are relocating abroad than ever before, and the Philippines is at the center of this wave. Why? Because the traditional American dream is crumbling. Skyrocketing costs, stagnant wages, and an increasing sense of dissatisfaction are driving people to rethink their future. And when they start looking for an escape, they find the Philippines. The breaking point when enough is enough. For some, it's a layoff that derails their career. For others, it's the moment they realize they'll never afford a home in the US. Then there are those crushed by debt, student loans, medical bills, credit cards, all while their quality of life decline. Take Philip, a 45-year-old father of 2. After 20 years of working non-stop, he realized he wasn't living, he was just paying bills. His kids barely saw him, his dream of owning a home, gone. When his rent increased again, he started looking for a way out. That's when he discovered the Philippines. The more he researched, the more it clicked. A slower pace of life where family and happiness come first. A culture that values relationships over profits. The chance to give his kids a better childhood, one with less stress and more freedom. And so he took the leap. Life after moving, the reality of expat life. So what happens when you actually make the move? For Philip, the shift was immediate. Stress? Gone. His money stretched further, allowing him to work less and live more. Instead of drowning in bills, he was exploring tropical islands, spending time with his family, and actually enjoying life. But this isn't just Philip's story. Thousands are making the same decision every year. Retirees, digital nomads, families, they're all finding a new sense of freedom in the Philippines. And the best part, they're not looking back. The urgency, why now? Here's the catch, this opportunity may not last forever. Visa policies can change. Right now, the Philippines is one of the most welcoming countries for expats, but governments shift. The open door policy that exists today could tighten in the future. Cost of living is rising. While the Philippines remains incredibly affordable, prices are creeping up as more people discover its potential. The best time to make the move? Before it becomes a mainstream expat hotspot. Regret is real. Every year, thousands of people think about leaving, but never act. 5 years later, they're in the same financial trap, wishing they had made the move when they had the chance. The question isn't why anymore, it's why wait? How to make the leap. If you're ready to take control of your future, here's how to start. 1. Research your destination. Manila, Cebu, Davao, Palawan. Each region offers a different lifestyle. Find the one that fits your needs. 2. Figure out your visa options. The Philippines offers long-term tourist visas, retirement visas, and business visas. Choose the one that works best for you. 3. Plan your finances. Determine how much you'll need to live comfortably. Many expats thrive on $1,500, $2,500 per month. 4. Visit before committing. Spend a few weeks or months exploring before making a final decision. 5. Make the move. Once you've planned it out, take the leap. Book the flight, embrace the adventure, and start a new chapter. The final thought. The Philippines isn't just another travel destination. It's a solution, a chance to break free from the financial strain, the stress, and the endless grind. Some will take the leap, some will hesitate, and some will never even know what they missed. The choice is yours. For decades, the United States was the dream destination, the land of opportunity, prosperity, and success. It was the place people moved to, sacrificing everything for the American dream. But today, that dream is slipping away. Now America isn't the place people are rushing into, it's the place people are leaving. 300,000 plus Americans moved abroad last year. Social Security payments can be transferred internationally. Retirees are realizing they can stretch their savings 3x longer overseas. This isn't just a trend, it's a massive shift. People aren't just chasing lower costs, they're chasing something bigger, a better life. And they're finding it somewhere else. Why are Americans leaving? The reasons are piling up faster than ever. 1. The cost of living is unbearable. In the 1980s, a middle-class family could afford a home, a car, and vacations all on a single income. Today, even dual-income households are struggling to stay afloat. Rent prices have skyrocketed. A one-bedroom apartment in major US cities costs more than an entire house in many other countries. Groceries are eating up paychecks. Basic necessities, milk, eggs, fresh produce now cost more than ever before. Healthcare is a financial trap. One medical emergency can send an American family spiraling into debt. In contrast, in countries like the Philippines, Mexico, or Portugal, an entire month's worth of expenses is often cheaper than a single week in the US. 2. Retirees are running out of options. Millions of Americans work their whole lives expecting to retire comfortably, but then reality hits. The average Social Security check is just $1,827 a month. That barely covers rent in most US cities. Retirement savings don't stretch far anymore. The rising cost of living is outpacing savings growth. Healthcare is the biggest concern. Medicare doesn't cover expenses abroad, but even without insurance, many experts find international healthcare cheaper than US coverage. The solution? Many retirees are packing up and heading overseas, where they can triple their quality of life without draining their savings. 3. Quality of life is declining. Beyond money, people are realizing something deeper. America feels more stressful than ever, long work hours, corporate burnout, and little time for personal life. Crime and safety concerns are rising. Many expats move for peace of mind, choosing countries where they feel safer walking the streets at night. Work-life balance is nearly non-existent. While European and Asian countries emphasize family time and leisure, Americans are trapped in the work until you drop mentality. What's the point of making money if you never get to enjoy life? That's the question many Americans are now asking, and for thousands of them, the answer is simple: leave. Where are they going? The top expat destinations. So if not America, then where? Here's where the new wave of expats is settling. To the Philippines, the retirement haven. Low cost of living, a $2,000/month budget lets you live like a king. English is widely spoken, no language barrier means an easy transition. Friendly locals, expats are welcomed with open arms. Warm tropical weather year-round. Who's moving here? Retirees, digital nomads, and anyone seeking a stress-free lifestyle. Mexico, America's backyard escape. Close to the US, a short flight back home whenever needed. Affordable healthcare, private hospitals cost a fraction of US prices. Vibrant expat communities. Who's moving here? Retirees and middle-class Americans tired of financial struggles. Thailand, the digital nomad dream. Ultra-low living costs. Rent, food, and transportation are all cheap. The stunning beaches and landscapes. Growing expat communities in cities like Chiang Mai and Bangkok. Who's moving here? Remote workers, entrepreneurs, and adventure seekers. Portugal, Europe's best-kept secret. Residency visas for non-EU citizens. Excellent healthcare system. Rich culture and history. Who's moving here? Middle-class families, retirees, and young professionals. Meet Philip, the American who left it all behind. Philip, a 52-year-old former engineer from Texas, always thought he'd retire in the US, but after watching his savings shrink while expenses kept rising, he made a life-changing decision. He moved to the Philippines. At first, his friends thought he was crazy. Why would you leave America, they asked. But after just 6 months abroad, his answer was simple: I finally feel free. In Texas, Philip was working overtime just to afford a basic lifestyle. In the Philippines, his social security check covered everything: rent, food, entertainment, without stress. He went from paying $2,000/month in rent, living in a beachfront condo for $600. Spending $400 plus on groceries, eating fresh organic food for less than $150/month, worrying about medical bills, getting high-quality healthcare for pennies on the dollar. Most importantly, his quality of life skyrocketed. No more financial stress. No more 60-hour work weeks. Just pure freedom to enjoy his days. And he's not alone. Thousands of Americans are realizing that the life they want isn't in the US, it's somewhere else. The urgency, why now? If you're thinking about leaving, here's the reality. Visa policies change. Many expat-friendly countries are tightening restrictions. The open door policy available today might not exist in 5 years. Costs abroad are rising. Once secret expat havens are becoming popular and prices are creeping up. The American dream isn't getting any easier. If life feels unaffordable now, what will it look like in 10 years? Bottom line, the best time to make the move isn't later, it's now. How to make the leap? Thinking about making the move? Here's how to get started. 1. Research your destination. Find out which country fits your lifestyle and budget best. 2. Sort out your visa options. Many countries offer retirement, work, or digital nomad visas. 3. Plan your finances. Figure out how much you'll need and create a budget. 4. Visit first. Spend a few weeks or months in your chosen country before making the final move. 5. Make it happen. Once you're ready, book the flight, embrace the adventure, and start fresh. Final thought: the future of American migration. The idea that America is the best place to live is fading fast. More and more people are realizing that a better, freer, and more affordable life exists beyond US borders. For some, moving abroad is a dream. For others, it's a necessity. And for those who make the leap, they're not looking back. The question isn't why anymore, it's why wait? Mark Reynolds had spent his whole life following the rules. 30 years as a truck driver in Ohio, long hours, endless highways, and paychecks that never quite stretched far enough. He paid his taxes on time, never missed a shift, did everything by the book, Life has a way of throwing curveballs. The economy took a nosedive, and with it, so did his retirement savings. One day, Mark logged into his account and saw numbers that didn't add up. Years of planning gone in an instant. At 62 years old, Mark found himself staring at an impossible future. Keep working until the day he died, or take a risk and leave behind everything he'd ever known. The idea sounded insane at first. Uproot his life, leave his family, his routine, his comfort zone. But as the months dragged on and the weight of uncertainty grew heavier, a thought kept creeping into his mind. What if there's something better out there? Then, one night, after another exhausting shift and a pile of unpaid bills staring him down, Mark made a decision. He booked a one-way ticket to Manila, a leap into the unknown. I thought I'd be scared, Mark says, shaking his head, but the moment I landed, something inside me just breathed. The air was thick with humidity, the streets alive with honking jeepneys and street vendors calling out their wares. It was chaos, but there was a warmth to it, something he hadn't felt in years. For the first time in a long time, Mark wasn't just surviving, he was living. Within a week, he had rented a small oceanfront apartment, something he could only dream of back home, and the price less than what he used to pay for his electric bill in Ohio. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. Mark adjusted to the slower pace of life. Mornings meant walks along the shore, chatting with friendly neighbors, and sipping coffee while watching the waves roll in. But the biggest surprise of all? Well, a new beginning? I wasn't looking for it, Mark admits. Honestly, I'd given up on it. Then he met Liza, a Filipina in her late 50s. Liza had a kindness about her, a softness that reminded Mark of something he had lost along the way. They met at a local market when she helped him haggle over a basket of mangoes. One conversation turned into another, then dinner, then walks on the beach. Before he knew it, Mark wasn't just adjusting to a new country, he was rediscovering parts of himself he thought were long gone. I spent my whole life chasing money, Mark says, but in the Philippines, I found something better. Companionship, peace, a reason to wake up every morning with a smile. The price of freedom. But leaving everything behind comes with a price. There are days when Mark misses his old life, the roads he once knew like the back of his hand, the familiar faces, the grandchildren he can now only see through video calls. It's not perfect, he admits, but for the first time in my life, I feel like I chose this life instead of it choosing me. And that's what makes all the difference. Now tell me, that doesn't hit you right in the soul? Mark isn't alone. Back across the US, thousands of Americans are packing their bags, selling their homes, and boarding one-way flights to a new life abroad. In 2022, over 300,000 Americans left the country in search of something better, and among the top destinations, the Philippines. Why? Because for many, the American dream has lost its promise. Digital nomads are trading overpriced cramped apartments for spacious beachfront villas, working remotely with the ocean as their backdrop. Veterans are finding communities that actually respect and value them, offering affordable healthcare, camaraderie, and a sense of belonging they no longer feel back home. Retirees who feared outliving their savings are now living comfortably, dining out, hiring household help, and enjoying a lifestyle they could never afford in the US. A social security check that barely covers rent in America? In the Philippines, it buys a life of comfort, adventure, and dignity. But here's the thing, this is only the beginning. With rising costs, political uncertainty, and a growing realization that life can be lived differently, more Americans are making the move every year. So the real question isn't why they're leaving. It's this, why haven't more people followed? The Philippines is changing fast. For years, it's been a hidden paradise for expats, low cost of living, breathtaking beaches, and a lifestyle that feels like something out of a dream. But the secret's out, and when too many people find a good thing, things start to shift. Real estate prices are rising. What once cost pennies on the dollar is climbing. Oceanfront apartments that were once dirt cheap, they're getting scooped up by investors. Land that was once easily affordable, developers are moving in. More foreigners mean increased demand for visas. As thousands of expats flood in, visa policies could tighten. The easy, flexible stays Americans once enjoyed may not last forever. The cost of living is still low, but for how long? With more foreigners arriving, local businesses are adjusting their prices. What was once a steal is slowly creeping up. It's happening right now, and the trend is clear. The golden window of opportunity is closing. If you've ever thought about making the move, you need to act now. Because 5 years from now, that dream might not be as affordable or as accessible as it is today. I want you to imagine something. It's 5 years from now, You're sitting in the same job, staring at the same computer screen, in the same overpriced apartment. The cost of living has only gone up. Your savings stretched thinner than ever. The dream of financial freedom feels further away than it's ever been. And then, for just a second, you think about the chance you never took. Do you remember this moment right now? That moment when you could have booked that ticket, when you could have taken the leap, when you could have built a new life instead of staying stuck in the same old cycle. Now tell me, isn't that scarier than taking the risk? This isn't just a conversation, this is a movement. Tell me, would you take the leap? Would you trade the stress and struggle for sunshine and freedom? Smash that like button if this hit home. Subscribe because we're not done. This story is just beginning. The American dream isn't dead. It just moved to the Philippines.